The most important topic for any banker would be capital adequacy norms. You must have guessed right, we are covering Basel norms 1, 2 and 3. In this series, we quickly cover the comparison of these three norms. So here we are.
Welcome on behalf of GLS. In this session, we are going to cover very important aspect, the capital adequacy. And obviously, when we talk about capital adequacy, it's the Basel norms which are known world over. So we cover Basel 1, 2 and 3. Now, let's see how over a period it has evolved. In the year 1988, the Basel is a place, let me tell you, in Switzerland, and where these norms were set. And the capital adequacy norm was decided 8% for the banks with international operation. And whereas in India, the Narasimhan Committee decided that it should be 9%. Of course, for all these, if you look at the 1988 concept, it covered only the credit risk. And basically, it's a straitjacket kind of a weightage which was there. Come 1996, there was an amendment. So people learn from their mistakes. So we have credit risk plus market risk. Again, when we look at the 1999, the norms which came up, the operational risk was not covered. Then in the year 2004, these Basel II norms, as described, there were three pillars. Pillar 1 talks about minimum capital requirement, that is 8% global. India, it is 9%. Within that, what we cover is credit risk, market risk, and the operation risk. Pillar 2, if you look at the supervisory review, that is follow-up of the capital CAR requirement, and Pillar 3 is disclosure requirement. Next now. Now, what's the background basically? The Basel Committee on Banking Supervision, as known as BCBS, is a committee of banking supervisory authorities. It was established by the central bank governors of a group of countries in 1974. It consists of senior representatives of bank supervisory authorities, central banks from various countries like Belgium, Canada, France, Germany, UK, USA, and many more. It usually meets at the Bank of International Settlements in Basel, where it is permanent secretariat is located. Under the Basel system, the balance sheet assets, non-funded items, and other off-balance sheet exposures are assigned weights according to the prescribed risk weightages. Banks have to maintain unimpaired minimum capital funds equivalent to prescribed ratio on the aggregate of the risk-weighted assets and other exposures on ongoing basis. Basel I Accord. So, only the credit risk element was considered. Minimum requirement of capital funds was fixed at 8% of the total risk assets. Risk-adjusted assets would mean weighted aggregate of funded and non-funded items. Degrees of credit risk expressed as percentage weightings have been assigned to balance sheet asset and conversion factors to off-balance sheet items. In India, however, banks have been required to maintain a minimum capital to risk weightage asset ratio, that is CRAR, of a 9% on ongoing basis. The bank's overall minimum capital requirement will be Basel, as per the Basel Accord 1, core capital, supplementary capital, and deduction from capital, that is the constitution of the capital. As far as risk weightage system is concerned, is based on a broad assets classes. Target standard ratio is risk-based capital ratio, that is capital divided by risk adjusted assets. Now let us look at Basel III, the three pillars in the banking supervision. Pillar 1, minimum capital requirements, credit risk, market risk, and operational risk. Pillar 2, supervisory review process, that is SRP, supervisory review and evaluation process, internal capital adequacy assessment process, and Pillar 3, market discipline, that is disclosure requirements. So it retained key elements of the previous capital adequacy framework, including the general requirement for banks to hold total capital equivalents to at least 8% of their risk-weighted assets, the basic structure regarding the treatment of market risk, and the definition of eligible capital. Now, the capital base of the bank consists of the following three types of capital elements: Tier 1, Tier 2 capital that are subject to the following limits. Tier 1 capital, Tier 2 capital, it cannot exceed 100% of Tier 1 capital. Capital conversation buffer, that is CCB, where general provisions and general loan loss reserves and evaluation reserves. So all above components with specific restrictions were introduced in Basel II. What are the key differences between 1 and 2? As far as Basel I is concerned, with a simple measure of credit risk, no risk sensitivity, no explicit measure for operational risk. So total capital divided by credit risk RWA plus market risk RWA equal to the bank's capital ratio more than 8%. Whereas Basel II was concerned, bank's own internal measure for counterparty level risk parameters, more emphasis on bank's own internal methodologies, that is Pillar 1, supervisory Pillar 2 and market discipline Pillar 3. Significant changes to the approaches used to measure credit risk. More flexibility, menu of approaches, incentives for better risk management, then increase risk sensitivity, inclusion of explicit capital requirements for operational risk. So the total capital divided by credit risk plus market risk plus operational risk equal to the bank's capital ratio more than 8%. Then came the need of Basel III. What was the need? Basel III is an enhancement of Basel I to primary in 4 areas. Augmentation in the level and quality of capital, introduction of liquidity standards, modifications in provisioning norms, better and more comprehensive disclosures. So major objects or aims of Basel III are improve the banking sector's ability to absorb shocks arising from financial or economic stress, whatever the source, improve risk management and governance, and strengthen banks' transparency and disclosures. Major changes proposed in Basel III. First, better capital quality. One of the key elements of Basel III is the introduction of much stricter definition of capital. Better quality capital means higher loss absorbing capacity. Thus, in turn, will mean that banks will be strong, allowing them to better withstand the period of stress. Capital conservation buffer. Another key factor of Basel III is that banks will be required to hold capital conservation buffer of 2.5. The aim of asking to build conservation buffer is to ensure that banks maintain a cushion of capital that can be used to absorb losses during periods of financial and economic stress. The counter-cyclical buffer. The counter-cyclical buffer has been introduced with the objective to increase capital requirements in good times and decrease the same in bad times. The buffer will range from 0% to 2.5%, consisting of common equity or other fully absorbing capital. Others, minimum capital quality, leverage ratio and liquidity ratio. This is a chart which basically provides the capital requirement comparison, and students are requested to go through this chart. You can take a screenshot of this also. So being shown here is the Basel II and Basel III particulars, the requirement comparison. In minimum tier 1A, Basel II was 4, Basel III is 7%, of which common equity is 2% and 5.5% respectively, of which additional tier 1 is 1.5 as far as Basel III is concerned. So max tier 2 is 4% and in Basel III it is 2%. And minimum total capital, that is total of E, that is A plus D, is 8% in Basel II and 9% in Basel III. So capital conservation buffer is 2.5 in Basel III, which wasn't there in Basel II. And minimum common equity tier 1 plus CCB is 2%, whereas in Basel III it is 8%. So minimum total capital is H is equal to E plus F, that is 8% and 11.5% respectively in Basel II and 3. In India, while most of the stipulations for capital adequacy ratio have been effected, the last phase stipulation will be effected on April 1, 2021. With this, we finish our session on Basel 1, 2 and 3. We'll have MCQs in the next session. Thank you.